comes from traditional Chinese medicine, the idea of these acupressure points. And then it also incorporates affirmations, so you're actually speaking out loud what your issue is, you're acknowledging the issue that you want to address, and then you try to follow it back to the first time you felt it. Or if there was a specific trauma that happened that you want to figure out which of the emotions, what negativity or what issues came about because of that trauma. And you try to pinpoint that as much as possible, because then once you can release that, you open yourself up to have a better foundation for anything else that comes your way, any other experiences. So a lot of times, like what we were talking about, we multitask, we distract ourselves, we just repress, we push it, we're like, ooh, that happened to me, whatever, we're gonna forget about it. But your body stores it. And when that happens, you just keep building and building on top of that, but it's almost like a springboard. So over time, that's where a lot of aches come in. That's where a lot of emotional issues come in. A lot of negative patterns that we get into is just a matter of, because we've habitualized allowing it to be a pattern, right? So this is taking charge and being like, okay, no, I know this is happening, but I don't want it anymore. It's not me. It's not how I want to define myself. It's not what I want to be burdened with anymore. To start, we start with what's called a karate chop point. You just take 2 fingers and you're just tapping. I mean, it's not too hard, not too light, just enough so you just feel it and get a nice kind of rhythm. You could also start between the pinky, like on the knuckle, between the pinky and 4th finger knuckle. You can also start by rubbing or massaging your chest right by your armpit. Let's say I feel lonely because COVID is separating everybody, right? And so I'm feeling lonely because of that. So even though I feel this loneliness, I completely accept myself. So I'm acknowledging what my issue is, I'm allowing it, I'm not saying, oh, I don't have that. It just happens to be how I've processed things and the emotion that's come up. And so it's a pretty general thing right now, but I can still, if I don't know where the specific cause is yet, I'll just go through that. A lot of times, what will trigger somebody is by saying, I completely accept myself. That triggered me when I first started this, so that was something that I had to work on. I'd be like, why am I bothered by that? Or why does that make me feel like I need to cry? Or why don't I believe that? Right? So even that itself is something to tap on. Yeah, that right there, like you said, if you stop there, that would be the first thing to tap on. So after I repeat that 3 times, even though I feel lonely, even though I have this loneliness, I completely accept myself. Then I'll go through the sequence and I'll just repeat this loneliness. So it's the crown of your head, the very tippy top. And then the inner, where your eyebrow starts, on the inside. Yep, right on the bone. This loneliness. And then it's on the outside of your eyebrow. Yep, still on the bone. And then it's under your eye, right on the bone under your eye. And then between your lip and your nose. And then between the bottom lip and your chin. And then your collarbone where it starts. And there's another one on your ribs. And so you just go through the sequence a few times. Sometimes you only need once. It kind of just depends on what you need to release and if it's able to be released easily, how deeply rooted it is. And so what I would do is just keep going through and just get as specific as possible. Yeah. Speaking it out loud is really good because it allows your auditory processing to receive it as external information too. So it's almost like you're removing yourself from it. So another thing with trauma, we hold it and we're like, this is mine. It's my trauma. And depending on who you're surrounded with, I think everyone expects you to deal with it. Like you're like, this is who I am. I present myself like this. So even if you don't want to share your trauma, you still embody that. That still becomes a part of who you are. And then you act and react based on that. Because that's just what we're used to. And we've created such a pattern of holding that we think, okay, I'm no longer going to be me if I release it. It's something that I'm dealing with, but I don't have to keep dealing with it. I don't deserve to keep dealing with it. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be a full person. I deserve to move on, start fresh, you know? And you can do that at any second. That's the power of being a human, is you have the power of choice and you can decide to change and be different how you want to be.
How long have you been using
I learned it with my Thai yoga training, actually with Samaveda. Oh, that was 2017. I started by watching videos of Gary Craig doing it, and we were encouraged to tap along with it. So even if the trauma, if the experience is not the same, the way our body has stored it might be the same.
How long did it take you to like easily be able to skirt through what you need to be saying to yourself while you're tapping?
I did practice with somebody else doing it with me until I really got the flow of it. The more that I did it, it really didn't matter if I believed in it or not. I know that it is a huge part of how I am now, and I released a lot of things that I had just been holding on to because of this, because it allowed my brain to really sort through the origins of it. But that is why it's helpful to do it with somebody else, because they can keep you on track, because if the pattern is repression and the pattern is ignoring it, your mind will automatically try to do that. But anything that when you think of it, it's extremely painful for you to think about it. It's helpful to have somebody there that can keep you centered and to know what to do so you don't just like spiral. But even that, you would just tap through that reaction too, because that's releasing. So crying is really good. To breathe is obviously very helpful, but that's another good indicator that something's being released is after you go through a sequence, breathe in new air and release it. Like you have this space now that's opened up that you didn't have before because it was crammed with all the patterns and storage of things. Your body will always tell you what you're not, what you still need to work on. And that's okay. It's not about being perfect. You will always have the opportunity to be faced with an experience where you could suffer, or somebody could try to hurt you, or it would be problematic for you, right? It could be a trauma. So why have that all the time? It requires you to have responsibility for yourself, and a lot of people don't want that responsibility. And so a lot of blame and guilt, shame, doubt comes up. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm nowhere near perfect. Stuff keeps coming up. From personal experience, releasing stuff is awesome. It's so much better. This is free information. I mean, anyone, if you have a hand, and you don't, you know what I mean? A hand in consciousness.
Tap with.
Yeah, exactly. So you can tap on other people, and you can have other people tap on you. And the idea is that you're just like coordinating your body with your mind. It's all about bringing you back together, and like instead of being spread out. But then you're also releasing. Yeah, does that make sense? Was I rambling?
No, it makes sense.
Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah,
just being open to it, because that's really the first step, is being open to something new.